Yeah. Hey, honey. I told them, here I come. I told them to let me. Oh, I'm sorry. The screen's in. All right, no problem. I got it. I'll call you this morning.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the October 24th, 2022 regular board meeting. We're going to give a couple of our members an opportunity to come in and get seated. Dr. Rock, can you please begin calling the roll?
Mrs. Gator. Mr. Freeman.
Here.
Mrs. Moomin. Mr. Roberts.
Here.
Miss Mitchell.
Here. All board members are here and accounted for. Can we stand, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. All right, next on our agenda is item 1.3, approval of tonight's agenda. Charlie, did you get the information?
Yes, I do want to remove, on the agenda, we'd like to remove Mitchell and Zeke. Move Mitchell and Zeke.
What item is that?
That's item 3.
All right, are there any other changes? Hearing none, if I can please have a motion to approve item 1.3, the agenda for the October 24th, 2022 meeting with the removal of the one name under item 3.3.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the agenda with the changes as noted, the removal of Mitchell Mazie under 3.3.
May I have a second?
I second it.
Thank you both. If there's no further discussion on this, Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Gator.
Yes.
Mrs. Moomin.
Yes.
Mr. Freeman.
Yes.
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Miss Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. Next on our agenda is item 1.4. If I can please have a motion to approve the minutes for the special meeting September 12th, 2022, work session meeting September 14th, 2022, and the regular meeting September 28th, 2022.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move item 1.4 on tonight's agenda, approval of the minutes that you had just already explained.
Thank you. May I have a second?
A second.
Thank you. Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Moomin.
Yes.
Mr. Freeman.
Yes.
Mrs. Gator.
Yes.
Mr. Roberts.
Abstain.
Miss Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 4 yes and 1 abstention.
I'm gonna ask if everyone could turn on their mics. Turn on your mics.
I think the mics are on.
They are on.
They're on. Sorry for the noise, folks. All right, next on our agenda is item 1.5. Bless you. Public participation. We don't bless you. Thank you. We don't have any cards here because there's no one here in person. Mr. Jolly, did we have any come in through the website?
No, ma'am. We didn't have any.
All right, then we're gonna move right along. We're at item 1.6, the superintendent's report. I'm going to turn the agenda over to Mr. Jolly.
Yes. Today I wanted to cede my time to Doug Myers and team to go over the construction update in reference to the Westwood demolition and also the athletic field.
Hello.
Good evening and welcome. Do we need mics for the gentleman?
Yeah.
They can use this one if you turn it
Here.
on. It's not on.
Can we make sure that mic is turned on? We don't think it's on.
Tap it.
it on? Doesn't sound like it.
It's the other one. It's the other one, David.
Superintendent's report.
David, it's the other.
Go back.
You should have a second one, David. You should have another one, David. I sent you first. I sent this one to you first. How you doing, sir?
There's a different presentation, David, is what Mr. Jolly is sharing.
He's trying to find it.
There. Yep,
There we go.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, just
You just slide up a little bit.
go to Google Slides, David. No, go to the middle. Go to the middle. Yeah.
There we go.
All right. This here presentation. Slideshow, yeah. Sure. All right, we good.
Thank you. So we're here for a couple of things this evening. First, we wanted to give an update as to where we are with the overall program funding and with what we're projecting to spend, and then the remainder we're expecting to have. Thought it was a good time because we also have a request for 2 GMPs this evening. One's for Westwood Demolition, and the other one's for the remainder of the athletic complex. Okay, so you can go ahead. And next slide, please.
Excuse me.
There we go. So the overall program funding that we have available is. You can't hear me? Okay.
The mic is.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Just speak
Okay,
as
I'll
loud as you can.
just give you a thumbs up. Okay. All right. All right. Go back.
Go back a few.
Go back one more. Back one
more.
Go back,
One
please.
Go up. Go back. One more.
Start from the beginning. Keep.
You go one more slide. All right.
Now up to
Go up. Go up.
right here.
Right here.
There we go.
Teamwork.
So this is the overall program fund. This is what we have for everything. So it's made up of the 2019 COPS and the 2019 bond. It's made up of the state funds. It's also made up of interests. Food service has some funds, and we had some remainder from segment 1 that we didn't spend that's added to this. And then, of course, there's the extra $5 million that the board gave to cover overages for the stadium and just with the conditions that we have. Okay, so this is what we have kind of all in. Next slide. So our projected spends, our hard cost and soft cost for segment 2 is $79,700,000, and that includes our demolition projects. That includes the stadium project. That pretty much includes the overall scope that we have. The additional soft costs for LFI, that's basically for the Moody Nolan agreement that we had for them to go ahead and to do the stadium project and for some miscellaneous costs. And then as we're seeing with the demolitions and the costs that are still coming up, we're projecting 500. We don't know that it's going to be that. Hopefully it could be substantially less than that, but we are seeing that the costs are going up for demolition, so we want to be prepared for that. So we're projecting that our overall spend is going to be $80.8 million, so that gives us a surplus of about $500,000. So this is just kind of a looking into the future, making sure that we're okay with where we're at now,
very confident with where we're at. Next couple of slides, I'll get into kind of where we are in the change orders and stuff like that. But I thought it was important to show you the overall picture of where we are. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay. So we actually have two different kinds of contingency that we're managing. So what that is within the project budget, we have a section of contingency for the things that we can't really identify, but we know that there's always things that come up, so we want to cover those costs. So we have a co-funded contingency, which we share with the state, and then we have a single LFI contingency. And part of that came out of the $5 million that you added to the program. So with our co-funded contingencies, we start with $1.3 million. And to date, we have executed change orders of $766,700. Okay. So that includes a lot of the alternates that we added. It includes a lot of the changes that we've developed through the project, some finishes and just other items that have come up. And then we also have pending change orders. And what those are changes that we're defining, but we don't have final prices for, or they're things that we anticipate that are going to come up. We try to identify those early. Okay. So between all of those, we're seeing that we have a remaining co-funding contingency of $222,100. Okay.
So could you give me an example of the pending change in order? What would that be?
So some of those are like we have a bulletin out right now of doing a fit out for where the planetarium was going to be.
Oh,
Okay. So we're doing the studies of turning that into a classroom.
Oh, okay.
So we don't have everything finalized yet, but we put a dollar value of, I think it was like $30,000 or $25,000 as a placeholder so that we know. So it helps us manage the project so that we don't get too far ahead of ourselves. Okay. All right. And then the LFI contingency are basically for all the items that the state's not going to co-fund. Okay. And so with those, we had identified $750,000. We've spent nearly $400,000 of that. We have about $100,000 left, so we have about $245,000 of LFI contingency remaining. Okay, and so this is something we've tracked all along, but as we get closer to the end, we really watch it closely. So when we have our core meetings, we're talking about change orders. We have projections of them. We track them. We work back and forth, and so this is kind of where we're at right now. Okay. The remaining GMPs that we have with the program include the high school demolition abatement, and right now the estimate from the state for that is $946,000. That's included in our overall program funding. Okay, so this is already accounted for. And then the John Dewey abatement and demolition. Now, those costs, when we bid those out, they come in higher. That's kind of why we're holding some of that contingency to cover those costs. Before, when we did Eastwood, they came in higher. We kind of reduced the scope. It cost some extra time and everything. But realistically, there's not much scope change when we want to demolish the building, right? There's not much we can go to. So we want to make sure we have the funds available to be able to keep going if it's something out of our control. Okay. Right, next slide. So that's kind of how I wanted to update on where we are in the funding in the program. Okay. So our request for GMP 5, this is the abatement and demolition of Westwood. So this has had the documents were created. We had our hazardous material consultants. They did a survey of it. We bid out the project. So these are hard bid numbers. And this GMP is for $466,927.05. This project is co-funded with the state, but this was over what the state estimate was. And again, this was probably 4 or 5 years ago when the state put these estimates together. Since then, we've seen a 30% increase in even the state's estimates on all of their projects. Okay, we were before that, but so the district handles that as an LFI for that overage. Okay, next slide. I just threw this down to kind of give you a frame of reference. So this is actually the site, and the scope is going to be to remove the hazardous material and abate the project. Then we'll demolish it, and then we'll clear the site where we go. Okay. Next slide, please. So these are the details of the GMP that I have sent you. The subcontracted cost of work is $413,209, and that's made up of abatement, demolition, and we have $10,000 for CEI allowances. We've had that on some of the other demolitions, and I think we've gotten most of that back. That's just kind of an anticipated cost that we couldn't really define. It's also made up of the general conditions and the bond. And then we have personnel costs for Infinity's personnel. And then we also have 3% for CMR contingency in the project. And again, if that isn't used, that comes back to the district. And then we have the CM fee of 2%. And that's what gets us to the $466,927. Okay. Next slide.
Next slide.
So the overall schedule, so with this being co-funded, this will actually go to OFCC through their DocuSign process. We're going to be talking about it this week with Dennis Kaplan, the state project manager. But Infinity, the first thing they'll do is with the hazardous material and abatement, they have to issue their 2-week notification. So then that puts the state on notice that they're going to start doing the abatement and everything, and then they can start that 10 days later. We'll be able to put up fencing right away. They're anticipating to be able to do the abatement in November, early December, and then follow up directly with demolition for a couple months, and then we'll be seeding in May. That's kind of the overall schedule. So. Okay. Do you have any questions?
I have a few, Madam Chair. Sean, when do you think you're going to go out for the bid for the demos, or are you bidding them all?
The 2 demos that I still have left are the high school.
Yep.
And I'm probably looking at right now at the end of the year is what we're talking about. It would be a great bidding period time frame. They do that. We think that contractors will be hungry looking for work to start the 23 season.
Mm-hmm.
And so we think that's a good time to go out and bid. So there will be anticipate documents to be prepared in December. We'll finalize those in the first of the year.
Okay. And on the contingency, the money we held, and I know we talked about it, and it may not even arise. What about the soil? Did we look at, or are you looking at contingency if we need soil?
If we have contaminated soil, that's one of the uses we use the contingency for.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for me. Thanks.
I have one question. Out of this $467,000, I'm rounding it off. How much is that co-funded by the state?
I can get you that exact number. I think they were 38%.
It's 38%.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
I can get you that exact number though.
Yeah. Okay, I can do it if you said 38%.
Yeah.
So right now we are on budget,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. So we don't have anything to worry about that somebody gonna come in and say we need $500,000 more dollars.
No, and that's why we do the projections. That's why we have the contingency, and that's
Okay.
why we do pending,
Okay.
so that if something like that happens, we know that well in advance.
Okay.
And then we try to manage it within the project.
Okay.
Like early on, we did a lot of cost reductions early on.
Mm-hmm.
We did a lot of finish changes, and we did a lot of things. And it's hard to remember now, but we took almost $1 million out, and so we kind of managed all of that.
Okay.
To stay ahead of it. It's the last thing I want to do is ask you for more money.
I have one more question, Sean. The north parking and that that access road. When do you think you might be starting on that?
Actually, the north parking lot is in,
Okay.
and I have the road on the west side in, and the process now is probably next week I want to remove the relocation 20-mile-an-hour school zone sign.
Okay.
We have a location for that as we see how it goes. Before they have the city. And then we'll look at, I'm still striving to get into what's called the apron.
Yep.
So I need the apron in, and then that'll be my primary phase move of spring. So I can start the athletic complex. But right now, I'm actually jumping in the athletic complex, but where it sits is where my 150 is, and trailers can lay down there and we anticipate that will all be by end of March gone. And I'll utilize that as a staging area for manpower and the equipment and material should be built by then.
Thanks. I got you. Thanks.
Madam Chair,
Go right ahead.
is there any chance that the Westwood demolition would happen in sooner than, what did it say, sometime in November?
November
when you
7th.
started?
Right.
Well, that's just next week. So what happens around that first week?
Right now, our focus is to release our fence contractor in advance of the state meeting that we have on Thursday to formalize this. That goes smoothly. So we'll look at, I'm hoping here within the next week, we can at least look to put the fence up. One of the legal and code requirements that we have to do is with the Ohio EPA, we have to issue a 10-day notice to the Ohio EPA that we plan on doing some abatement and hazardous material remediation. We have to give them that notice. So if they want to come visit and see what we're doing in our setup, we have to give them time to do that. While Doug was talking, I was down here texting my cohort, we did submit that 10-day notice today. So I did verify that the clock will start today. So, that takes us right to that November. I mean, I blink and I go, oh my God, it's November. But that's what would be there. Our intent is to ensure that our abatement contractor, and we've already given them a notice that we intend on awarding them the contract, so they gear up. Now we just got to get through the contractual side of the equation with the state and get that begin to formalize. It doesn't even need to be 100% formalized as long as they know the state's acknowledging that we're going to push through the process. We'll get the contractor moving on site. But from a community basis, you're not going to see any activity because of the abatement and hazardous material removal is inside school. So you'll see vehicles with no real activity. So talking to our demolition contractor and with the amount of work that he presently has under his contract and his ability to get to the project, it'll probably be that later December date, no matter what I try to do. And it's best, frankly, from a weather basis to do that selective demo or building demo in the winter time, because you get a little bit of colder conditions, you get a little bit of snow, and then you don't want the debris in the air, say in the summertime, and then have to be watering the building itself, and then within the residential side of the equation, impacting them from a dirt and dust basis. So we'll be able to minimize that going into the winter months. And frankly, that's moving pretty fast in the world of abatement demo and, contract of building demolition, and trying to orchestrate, get these contractors on board and getting them to move material that they have hooked up together. So, we want to make a presence there as quickly as we can, because I know the urgency that the board has expressed and Don has expressed to us, and we'll get that fence up as quick as we can in respect to that, so we should close in that area. And then I'm looking for Thursday to ensure that we can get through what any issues that we have with the state that might come up with. We'll cross those T's and dot those I's on Thursday and make sure that that stuff gets through the process. So if I can get a little earlier, we will. And the contractor that we selected on this did the select. I did when I say select, building demolition to the middle school. Did a really great job, and so I'm looking for the same performance, and hopefully maybe we can get it done fast. So if January, February, March time frame could be end of February, and then we can see the weather change, for the scale of the sea and such. But we're moving as fast as we can, and we have contractual requirements that we have to walk through and that we can't do anything until that 10 days is officially over. So and that clock started today.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for
I
us?
just got a question for Superintendent Jolly. Will you keep that basketball court open or fold around?
No, not all of that. Everything.
Thank you.
Our next request is for GMP 2 for the athletic complex. I added this site concept plan, just kind of remind everybody what the scope is.
Can you go back?
Go back. Yeah. So we had GMP 1 where we had the release for the track in the field, and this is for the remainder of the work. So this includes the bleachers, this includes the ball fields, this includes the parking lot to the west. This plan shows the ad alternate for another parking lot, which we are not going to proceed with. We're going to keep that as practice fields. This does include the fire lane that the city requested, and I know the district wanted, so that we'll have access on both roads to the school. One of the modifications that we made is with the storage building. Not quite shown accurately here. We've made some modifications to that, actually made it a little larger building. We changed the design of it, came in more cost effective, and actually it'll meet the purposes for athletic, for general attic stock storage, and for site storage. So we'll have that in a good location. So this kind of gives you the frame of reference. And then this promenade, I'll talk a little bit more, but that promenade between the baseball, the parking lot and the football field is actually going to be concrete. That was one of the ad alternates.
Doug, I think you just answered my question. I was going to ask you when you said the parking lot that's not going to be there. This one that looks like it's right off Warrensville Center, that parking lot is going to be there.
Yeah,
correct?
so it's basically 2/3 of what you see is going to be built.
Okay. The one that's up by the baseball field is not going to be. Right. Okay, so it's going.
That was an ad alternate for extended parking, and, but we are going to have the other parking.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, you're saying it will not be there?
The one with the baseball field,
Right.
at the top, the top is the baseball field, the bottom is softball. So it'll be the one with the baseball field that won't be there. That'll be a field, like a like an open field.
Oh, okay.
And that is right. That's right off Warrensville Center.
Yes, it is. Okay. And I have another plan that'll probably show you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this plan kind of shows, you can see the promenade. As the promenade comes on, that's kind of the end of the parking lot. So that's the base bed. And then the lighter up to the top of the page, that was an ad alternate. Okay. So then this plan, you can actually see the layout for how the storage building is going to be, a big turnaround area. And then we have fields and throwing area, and that's also a practice field. Okay. Next slide. So the cost for this, the total GMP is $7,443,861, and that's made up of subcontracted work, which is basically $6.9 million. We have general conditions with bonds, $103,000. We have Infinity's personnel costs and CMR contingency of $280,354. We have a fee of $130,324. That gets us to the total. And actually, so when we first came to you, we actually got the agreement and we did the forecast of the overall project. And then we did GMP 1, and now we're doing GMP 2. And we're actually under what we had forecast. So that's additional money that's built into the overall program. So, okay. So that's all good news. Next slide. So with this, I kind of just put the highlights together for the overall schedule.
Mhm.
So everybody's actually started to mobilize hard to the site and everything. But some of the milestones will be in March to move the construction trailer and the parking out of the way. Getting the fire lane and the parking lot in April. The fields, the bleachers are going to be constructed between April and August. So we'll be done in August for the field. And actually, the seeding is going to take place. So by September, really looking at most of your work being done for this.
So Doug, when you say
Go ahead.
the field's going to be done in August, so
That'll
will
be
our-
the football field.
okay. So
The
will our
turf
football team be able to play
Yes.
in 23?
Yes.
In fall 23. All right.
So that turf it'll have time to take.
It's an artificial.
It's
Oh, it's
artificial.
artificial?
You can play
Okay.
instantaneous
Okay.
as soon as they lay it.
Okay.
And then the baseball field will be planted in the fall.
Mhm.
So then it'll be up to the district whether they use those in the spring or wait.
Next fall. So you're referring to the spring of
Spring of
24.
24.
Yeah.
24.
That's what I was
To
thinking.
play.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, one thing I tried to do when I put my bid packages together and negotiate the scope of work, particularly on the seating side of the equation, I always run into the problem in the past that it doesn't take, and you're fighting completion by the end of this planning season of 23, and then you're trying to play sports in 24. And we all know what March, April, Mays are like in our world. So the rains and back and forth. So I made sure that when we put the packages together, that we focused once. And I'm doing some seeding in July, August when we shouldn't be, but I did some provisions to ensure from watering, additional fertilization. But that our objective is from the end of September that you can walk on that, you see that you have a germinated grass field and it's no brown spots anywhere. And so that we can walk away and say, Mother Nature, do your thing. Let it germinate, let it get a root system, and then come spring, you hold drainage, and then you can go right into your sport activities, which would be your baseball, softball, and your field track. So let's make sure that 24 doesn't get delayed by don't have grass or I got whatever, let's take care of that. So that was a big focus for me to make sure we had in place along to ensure that how we sequence the work that comes before and John, I'm making sure the football schedule, I'm looking at that's a Friday, and that's, I don't know what the home games are versus visitors. On, but the intent is that yes, we'll be able to play the game on there. Now, I'm going to say, practice, because we still have construction going on both sides of the equation, so I would still like to practice. As I stated, other locations will allow us to still finish a major portion of the construction that will be going on in August, September, October, demoing the existing high school, and the amount of activity off of Northville Road to now open up a new school is going to be pretty intense. So we want to minimize that foot traffic. I'm not going to be able to control 100% get to that facility on either side as we go forward. So that was my intent to look at it, but that ability on a Friday night to sport a home football game for scheduled cases that
And I think Mr. Silkin, we don't have to play home the first game or the second game. We can probably prolong it to like September, get it going. Now I'll talk to him about that, but
I wouldn't mind, maybe we talk about, next weekends, would it be a great time for the team to practice on the field, and while we're not working or trying to do that, but we're doing something.
yeah, that would be great.
Able to get out, make some turns on the nice field, so. And then the other thing that we've done is, as Doug alluded to, I don't even really have an agreement in place, but I know this so long, I've already negotiated, and I'm gonna start on the Warrensville side of their earthwork, sort of lock myself in. I'm gonna have it to be on both sides, and we've already I'm hoping that everything goes favorably in regards to the board and what we've done today. I'm sure that everything's done on so, but taking advantage of Mother Nature's right now. And weather's nice, I want to go do that because I don't know what next couple of weeks will offer. We saw the ruins of what it can be.
Right.
Pretty brutal. Other places, so, a couple of comments, schedule basis, always trying to push it forward.
Thank you. That's a lot of information. Are there any additional questions?
Good information.
No.
You got some more pictures. You want to show the slides to the board on the presentation, like that the whole. Can you go to the next slide? You got everything on there. Oh, they are hitting. Okay. Yeah, when I printed it, that was on there. Yeah. Yeah. It's cool.
Okay. Thank you.
Very nice.
Question: have all board members had a chance to go through the new facility yet? I would suggest you get some comfortable shoes and take a bottle of water and do a tour. It's beautiful.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I can imagine.
Work it out.
I know my ankle is not allowing me.
How long does it
No,
take?
you
What'd you
can't
say?
go yet. It's a long,
No, I can't do it.
Not yet.
Oh,
That's it. Yeah.
what's the latest I can do it? Like I'm done at 2:00. Yep, you got it. Okay, cool. All right, I'll let you guys know. Okay. No, I just, I didn't know if I tried to do it after work, if that would give you enough time, so.
No, it's 230,000 square feet. 35,000. It's a lot. It's a long.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
There's days that I want to walk through it in detail. It takes me 2 hours.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I'm looking at every corner.
Yeah. Okay, all right, cool. I'll definitely reach out. Thank you.
It's always good to see you guys. Thank you for joining us tonight. Good information. You keep up the great work. Thank you.
So I do have four other announcements. As part of my report, just want to announce that we are requesting to see if a board member could step in for me on Thursday. There is an event at the elementary school where our STEAM students they've created some masks with 3D printers, and they're having a walk called Steps to Success Walk at the elementary school at 10 a.m. I won't be in town that morning, but if someone can step in.
at 10 a.m. on what, Thursday?
Thursday.
This coming Thursday?
This coming Thursday. And it'd just be nice if if anybody can call and represent. Tomorrow, trunk or treat at South Point Hospital. Dr. Rock, I wanted to see if the board, if we could purchase some candy tomorrow, possibly for the board to pass out. I could go get it from somewhere. But trunk or treat tomorrow, we did it last year at the trunk or treat, so we'll be there at South Point tomorrow. And then our Girl Scouts are having trunk or treat on Thursday. Miss Bruce and the Girl Scouts at the elementary school. from 6 to 8.
I'm sorry,
No.
say that again about the elementary school.
Right.
So the elementary school is doing trunk or treat. The Girl Scouts, Miss
Oh.
Bruce, Miss Crawford. That's from 5:30 to 7:30 at
Thursday is
WPS.
Wisconsin. What time is tomorrow?
Tomorrow's 6 to 8 at Ohio University. Thursday is 5:30 to 7:30 at Warrensville Heights Elementary School.
Oh, that's good.
And the Girl Scouts are doing it, which is great.
Oh, okay, that's wonderful.
And also next Thursday, State of the Schools, November 3rd at Warrensville Heights Elementary School, 7 p.m. And then the HBCU Fair, November 19th at the high school from 9 to 3.
HBC.
This will be the last time it'll be, at the high school, current high school. I don't know what's going to happen next year, but this will be the last time it'll be at our high school.
And that's November the 19th?
Yes, Saturday, November 19th, 9 a.m. to 3. We expect it to be a packed house.
It always is.
I was gonna say it always is.
So tomorrow we'll have some candy and we'll be at Truck or Treat if any board members want to come up. I'll be there and passing out the candy. So anybody want to come, we'll have be set up with our sign and just passing it out.
I do want to make an announcement too. Superintendent Jolly will go into the Warrensville Heights Alumni Hall of Fame on Saturday at 1 o'clock at our high school. The Alumni Association is having a Hall of Fame. They haven't had one since 2018. But I want to say congratulations. I will be there, Superintendent Jolly. Congratulations.
You say you will be there? Or you
I will be there.
I think all of us will be there.
Oh, okay.
Except Miss Moomin.
Oh, we're sorry.
She's going to Dubai.
Oh, that's right. This is your trip.
Tell out there you have your address while I'm out of town.
Oh, that's a great trip out to Dubai.
I know,
I
but
can't
I
pass
don't
that
know.
up.
Can't pass that up.
Superintendent Jolly,
It's
are we
gonna be
still doing
recorded,
the
right?
Westwood?
Oh yeah,
I
I
don't
forgot.
know. I'll ask Michelle.
The Westwood, we will also have the Westwood Final Roar. I gotta promote that more.
So
Next.
are these announcements that we?
I'm sorry,
No,
I
it's
didn't know.
okay.
See, it's part of my report. I'm sorry. The Westwood Final Roar, November 5th,
November 5th.
11 to 1.
Yeah, I was too. I'm like, wait.
November the 5th.
That's why I jumped in. I didn't know.
Yeah, announcements at the end.
I'm sorry.
That's
all
okay.
right.
No, he was.
You
giving
said
his
that was
report.
his report. Yeah.
Mr. Jolly, before you finish, the
You said
Thanksgiving buffet is on what day?
17, 18.
17th, that's another event. I'm sorry. The buffet is 17th and 18th
Okay.
at Tri-C Eastern Campus. There will be directories up there to tell you
much
where
is
to
it?
go. 11 to 2. $15
11,
for the buffet.
11 to 2. Do you have any more flyers for the seniors?
Yes, ma'am. I will get flyers to the senior center tomorrow.
They keep asking me.
Should be something up there on that too.
Yeah, I left about 50 there. We'll send some tomorrow.
and I'm sorry again. What time is the last word? Is it 10 a.m.?
11 a.m. 11 to 2. And then last thing, I really, this is an announcement, but I'm really encouraging our 6th to 12th grade students to audition for the Wiz. The auditions will be held on November 9th and 10th at the high school. I'm requesting that as many students as possible audition for the Wiz. We will transport the middle school students to the high school for the audition. And also they'll be transported for practice from the middle school to the high school. So auditions for the Wiz is on November 9th and 10th at the high school. Yes, sir. It's going to be at Warrensville Auditorium. It'll be the last play at Warrensville's current auditorium.
Do we have the date and time yet?
It's going to be March 17th. March 17th would be the performance. Friday, March 17th. We probably going to do it old school and have a matinee during the day. Remember how back when we was in school, we did a matinee during the day. and then we had a production that night, March 17th. That's St. Patrick's Day.
Mhm.
Sure. Yes. I don't know. People go. No, but yeah, we're gonna have it March 17th. That's my swear green.
Mean green. And you don't have a time yet. The evening?
No, we don't have the time. We need participation to increase. So we have a flyer that's going out tomorrow, and we're gonna get people there.
Okay.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. All right. We'll move on to item 1.7, the treasurer's report. Dr. Rock.
David, the next one.
I have a short report tonight. I just wanted to do a review on interest rates for the board. Okay, next slide. So interest rates, when we have high interest rates, it's good for the district investment revenue. When we have lower interest rates, it's good for our financing. Our most recent financing is 4.5% in June. Just to give you a gauge for that, right now, current mortgage rates are 7%. More good news is the next slide. So Star Ohio, this is the state fund for Ohio government's investment. It's fully liquid, it's conservative, it's state endorsed, the board let me establish an account for the district. And the purpose of this one is we use this for short-term funds, for immediate short-term cash flow. In other words, I can park that in there. If I need the money tomorrow, I can pull it right out. Oh, okay. We get interest for every day that it's in there. The current rate right now, oops, I'm sorry, Dave. Let's go back a moment. The current rate right now for Star Ohio is 3.04%. You say, okay, well, that's a great percentage. Last year, it was 0.07. And the year before that was 0.13. So for the past 2 years, you can see how low interest rates were. 3 years ago, we were at 2%. So you note that was just on the same day. So like today, a year ago today, 2 years ago today, and 3 years ago. So you can see where the recession started and, with low interest rates. But now the Fed has raised interest rates 3 times. So we have some really great rates. Okay, the next slide. So the next thing that we have also where we park short-term funds is a money market. And this is just right at Dollar Bank. There's a money market fund. It's a little bit lower than the Star Ohio. So this is just where I park funds for just this is where I park funds just for short-term within the bank that so if this way it's sitting in the bank, we're still getting some interest. So that's a good interest rate at 2%. And again, that's for short-term funds for immediate short-term cash flow. Next slide. Now this is where we have our investments in UBS and Fifth Third, and you see this on the monthly reports. These are our longer-term investments, where we could put funds in there for 1 year or more. Those are government bonds, government notes, government treasuries, certificates of deposit. And right now, when we buy new investments, they're going for anywhere from 3 to 4%. So when we're renewing those investments, we're getting great interest rate returns on those, depending on the term and availability. Next slide. So our strategy that we've been following along here is to invest the longer-term funds to maximize interest revenue, because those are funds that we don't need for right now. Invest construction funds over the construction period to provide cash flow during construction. Those ones were tied to, if the building's going to be done, we know we need those funds, so we can't invest beyond when we have to make the payments for the construction. And then the short-term funds, we want to try to maximize those while they're sitting there, but also we still want to preserve the current cash flow. Next slide. So just to take a look at our investment revenue history, this is total interest revenue. This is total, all the interest that we've gotten over the last 3 years. You can see Last year was 611,000. The prior year was 754,000, and in 2020 is 1.4 million dollars. Now again, remember on the Star Ohio, that's where interest rates were higher too. So we were enjoying higher interest rates, and we had more to invest in because that was in the beginning stages of our bond finance. So in other words, just to pull the whole story together, when we did our first phase for the elementary school, interest rates were a lot higher than when we did our second phase. Now, general fund interest revenue, this is just our general fund. This comes right off our 5-year forecast. Last year was 359. The year before that was 246. And then you could see when interest rates were better in 2020 was 787. Now, what I did want to put on here, though, is right now, this year, with the interest rates going up, we're already at 276, which is really good. You know, if we were at 359 last year for the whole year, again, that's when those interest rates were lower, and then they substantially increased. So things are looking good for our investment revenue history. And the last slide is that we will continue to apply the investment strategy to maximize interest revenue for the district while also providing sufficient short-term cash flow. That's the whole moral to the story. So I just wanted to provide an update to the board, especially since you hear about interest rates a lot in the news. That completes my section.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rock. Board, are there any questions? All right, then we're going to move into the meat of the agenda. If I can please have a motion to approve item 2 by consent agenda, treasurer's report and financial recommendations. And that was going to be items 2.1 and 2.2.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept treasurer's report and financial recommendations, items 2.1 and 2.2.
Thank you. May I have a second?
A second.
Thank you. Board, before we take this to a vote, are there any questions?
None for me, Madam Chair.
All right, hearing none. Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. All right, next on the agenda is item 3. If I could please have a motion to approve by consent agenda, superintendent's recommendations and presentation for board action certificated staff. That's going to be items 3.1 through 3.4.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move on to number 3, the superintendent's recommendation and presentation for board action certified staff looking for items 3.1 through 3.4.
Thank you. May I have a second?
A second.
Thank you. Board, is there any conversation on this section? No, ma'am.
Nope.
Mr. Jolly, did you have anything to add?
No, well, we have culture supplementals for our new golf. We put golf at the elementary school now, so Mr. Roberts is doing golf. Our kids, the board approved Top Golf a couple of weeks ago, so the kids going to Top Golf once a week. Culture supplemental for basketball, girls and boys. The lateral changes for salary. These are people who have increased their education. So what they've done is moved up on the salary scale based on getting more education. So you can see we have quite a few people that's continuing to grow with their education. So part of the contract is as you gain more credit hours, you get more money. So these people have gained more credit hours to receive more money. That's part of the union contract. 3.4 is the replacement for our social worker. We had a social worker leave before the school started, and this is the replacement for her.
Okay. So just out of curiosity, we're not calling her a social worker though?
No.
Is there a reason?
Yeah, there's certain license.
Okay.
You have to have a certain license to be a school social worker. So we called it something else so we have a bigger pool of people.
She has to be
So we got that job description approved a couple years ago so that we could have a bigger pool.
So, Mr. Jolly, for 3.3, you're saying for the lateral transfer, every time they take classes at a certified university,
Yeah, certain milestones that they have to reach.
Oh, okay.
So it's like masters plus 15, masters plus 30.
Okay.
So as they meet those milestones, then they move up a step, or they move to a different scale. So we have a bachelor scale, and then we have a master scale.
Okay. That's a good thing.
It's really good. If there's no further questions, Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Miss Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. All right, next on the agenda, we need a motion to approve by consent agenda superintendent's recommendations and presentation for board action classified staff, and that's going to be 4.1 through 4.4.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept as a consent agenda superintendent's recommendations and presentations for board action classified staff items 4.1 through 4.4.
Thank you. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. Board, is there, excuse me, are there any discussions or questions about this section?
Just like a comment,
Mhm.
on 4.2, and I just noticed this. It says to increase driver shortage, that should be
It's
decreased, right?
decreased, right? It should
Okay.
not be increased. And I believe that we have hired all the drivers that we need. So where people are short drivers, I think actually a lot of our drivers have came back to us. People left, and now they're coming back. So I think that says something about the conditions that Miss Hickman has done over there at the transportation office. I think she's created, and I want to speak she's continued the great work of Miss Callahan to make it a place where drivers want to be. Because we had 2 drivers come back. We hired another one last month. They left and came back also. So this is, I believe, it for drivers. We are fully staffed with drivers where other districts are short.
Very good.
That's
That's
awesome.
great work from Miss Hickman and her team. And then 4.3 is just substitute food service. We always need those. And then again, us moving people up. There's a promotion from lunch aide to cook cashier. So that's another. We always look internally, try to promote people from within.
All right, if there's no further questions or conversation, Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Miss Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. All right, next on our agenda, if we can please have a motion to approve by consent agenda superintendent's recommendation and presentations for personnel and programs. And these are going to be items 5.1 through 5.12.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move item number 5 on tonight's agenda, the superintendent's recommendation and presentation for personnel and programs, looking for items 5.1 through 5.12.
Thank you. May I have a second?
My second.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Jolly, this is a pretty big section. Is there anything that you want to
Yeah,
highlight?
I'll just briefly go through 5.2, 5.3, 5.4 are just affirmations for suspensions. Ms. Rudolph held the hearings, and we have affirmed that the suspension stand. 5.5 is we did culturally responsive training in the beginning of the year, and this is a follow up for that. Our staff felt it was very beneficial, and we wanted to bring it back with the same trainer as before. 5.6 is MOU with Cleveland State. This is for us. We've been working with Cleveland State to bring candidates here to work with our staff and our teachers. So our teachers have been working with them. 5.7 is YOU, the JOB program. This is our second year with the JOB program. This is like a training program for our high school students to prepare them for jobs. And it also provides them with the seal for graduation. 5.8 is this is one of the schools, we have to share our Title I money with students who have used open enrollment. So this is to pay. This is what the school community of saints have used as Title I to tutor students there. Heart to Heart, we use this wellness grant to provide mental health and behavioral health care for students who don't have insurance. So what we do is supplement students who don't have insurance so that they can get help and assistance. So that's just something that we implemented years ago. And this is something that we continue. We increased it a little more coming out the pandemic. We need more assistance and more help for our students. Parents have to consent, and that's one thing that sometimes get in the way. Is parents consenting. The next one is Warrensville Heights Education Center in Westwood. This is a plan that we put in place. The board is aware of why the plan is in place. And 5.11 is the abatement in the GMP for the demo of Westwood. And 5.12 is the GMP for the athletic complex.
All right. Are there
Super,
questions? Or
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, ma'am.
if there's questions, please go ahead.
Superintendent Jolly and Dr. Ward, we don't need a budget amount for that abatement on 5.11, do we?
I thought the amount was put in there. It's not.
Do we, Dr. Ward? Or just pulling that up?
What she put, yes.
You're right. Yeah.
It should be 466.
Mm-hmm.
It should be in the,
Yeah, Dr. Ward. You can add it. That's the only question. Thanks, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. 466. It was 466.
466 92705.
It's actually good.
Mm-hmm. It's in the attachment.
Right.
Mr. John,
Yes, ma'am.
it's not on here, but you sent us an email regarding the barber program.
Wait, if we can finish this section and then we
I
haven't
thought we were-
done a vote yet.
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's gonna be
I
on
thought we
November
finished.
9th, but
I'm
that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. It's a good question.
And
Are
she-
there any other questions on this section? Go ahead.
Actually, it's not even a question. I talked to Mr. Jolly about this. I just wanted to share it with the board.
Mhm.
So 5.7 is that Youth Opportunities Unlimited. I believe your son participated in that too, right?
No, my son didn't participate. I worked with it through the connection where I work.
Oh, no. I'm talking about when he was still in high school.
No, he worked with another
Well,
program.
I know my daughter did.
Mhm.
So there's a second part to this. Somehow I would like for us to be able to at least explore how we can help students. So after high school, grades 18 to 24, Youth Opportunities Unlimited has a program called Young Adult Opportunities. I know someone who's taking advantage of this. They have different technical training courses that can help you get certified. So I'm thinking about those students that don't, know what they want to do. They don't go off to college. They're just seen walking around town, not, with no real direction. It would be great if we could try to identify those students, connect them with the individual, the counselor that they have at the high school, and really start trying to look and see how we can connect them with this additional program. So I just want to thank you for bringing the program, but just know that there's more to what they do that I think that really benefit our students.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think that it's very beneficial. I'm working closely with Miss Berlin, well, really Miss Radford right now, but I'll be meeting with the counselor soon. I'll have a meeting with Miss Berlin tomorrow. Not Miss Berlin, I'm sorry, Miss Radford. We're meeting about ROTC and then the barber program too. So I'll just discuss both of them with you guys. Well,
Just one quick question. We've been with Youth Opportunities Unlimited how long now?
so we've been doing the JOGS program. This is our second year doing the JOGS program. So over the years, we've worked with them with the summer employment program. So I remember when I first came, we had some students from the program, kind of We didn't do it for a couple of years, and then last year we did it last year. So we look to continue that relationship to have our students participate in the program. We went for a big grant last year to try to get all our students participate, like 75, but we didn't get all 75. We didn't get the grant, number one. So, but our kids signed up and did work. So they work for the city, they work for Highland. We had them all across the Tri-Cities work. So we'll continue that relationship.
Awesome. Yes, I know last year we had the opportunity through my job to participate with the judging portion of the end of that program, and it was a proud moment to watch how well our students did in those performances. So I'm very thankful that we're doing this program again. It's an excellent program. It really is. Yeah. All right. If there's no further discussion, Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll so we can move forward on item 5? We've done. No, we did it already.
I moved it.
Yeah, Freeman moved it. Gator seconded. We were in discussion. That's okay.
All right. Yes.
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 Yes, motion passes 5-0. All right, we don't have any unfinished business. We don't have any new business. Dr. Rock, do we have any correspondence? All right, then I'm going to open the floor back up to Mr. Jolly.
Yes, so I want to talk about the JROTC. So Miss Bradford has got a connection with the Army, JROTC. So what we are currently going to do, Miss Bradford and myself, we're going to complete the application to apply for the JROTC. So we'll be bringing that to the board, prayerfully the June meeting, or not June, November meeting, or possibly the December meeting. We're looking at possibly having it at our site, but opening it up to the whole consortium so that we can make sure it's full. I don't know if we have enough. They say you need at least 20 cadets in the program. I don't think we have enough students to fill 20 cadets. So we would open it up to all, make it like Career Tech, so that all 5 schools can be part of it. And then the next thing I did share with the board, I'm working with the Carrington Barber and Cosmetology College to do a pilot barber school for seniors. Seniors are interested. So we have 7 students who've shown interest. We're going to have a parent meeting next week, because if I come to the board with the cost, we want to make sure that the kids are 100% interested and their parents have full support, because that is a very intensive program. I think it's 1,800 hours that they have to participate. So the owner, Kelly Rice, is the owner of Carrington Barber School. It's located in Lee Harbor. It's opening up a new facility. I don't believe any high school, because what they've been trying to do is make it part of cosmetology, but for some reason they won't let barbering become part of cosmetology. There's reasons why people can estimate why they won't do it. So what we want to do is make it. It won't be part of Career Tech. It'll be a program. So sort of like we bought Care Move program, we bought other programs. It'll be a program. They will have to do it after school or how their schedule permits, and then on Saturdays. So basically, we want to have a commitment for those students from their parent to say they're going to complete the program, or as some kind of mechanism if they don't. But something going to happen if they don't. So I think this would be a very innovative program. Kids have expressed interest in being barbers. It is an entrepreneurship program. Those young people can go graduate and make $1,000 a week or more. And it goes back to what Ms. Gaynor was saying earlier about YOU. This is an opportunity for people to go straight from school to work, and this is an avenue. Now there is a cost tied. It's $3,500 per student for the program.
We cover that.
We would cover that. We would in this go round to try to get it started. So I will present that if everything is formalized and put in place. Hopefully at the June meeting. I mean, not June. You said
June.
November.
And this program is just for our
Just for our students.
Okay.
The Barber College really wants to get high school students involved. And we really want high school students to be involved, so it's a good collaboration.
It is. How long will it last?
So a year and a half. He said a year and a half. But again, I got to get all the information. If they start now, they won't be finished. Probably till next June. So it might be after they graduate. They still because they got to spend a lot of time there. A lot of time.
How do we monitor? I mean, what's the plan to monitor this to make sure that they finish the program? They're going to be out of school by then, right?
So we will still communicate with the owner because the owner is working closely with us with that, and we want to have a provision in what he said, like he will prorate it, and if they drop out, he'll return our money or something. We're gonna work on that, and also we kind of want to put because with college with the college credit plus, if a student fails a class, then they have to repay the cost of the class. So we want to put that type of provision that we paid this much for you to go. So all the details are not worked out. I'm gonna work the details out, and then before we bring it to the board, we'll be able to answer all those questions.
And this just for seniors?
Just for seniors.
And that's what I was going to
It's
ask.
the age.
So,
it's the age thing that you have to do. I think you have to be 17 or something. Turning 18.
So do we have any juniors that could possibly participate that are 17?
So Ms. Radford has recruited, and she got 7 so far. I will ask her to look down and see if she has some older juniors that's possibly available. But I would say that for the most part, our kids are not overaged. I mean, when I say that,
not a lot.
They done done the high school's done a good job over the past few years of keeping our kids in the right progression. In the past, I know we had a lot of people who were like overaged, younger, but they're doing a good job. But there probably is, I know there's some that's overaged. So if they're interested, and our big thing is interest. If you're interested and you got to be committed to doing it.
You got to enjoy doing it.
You got to. Because again, if that investment is made, the expectation is that you fit. Not that you start and quit because it gets too hard. And that's why the parent meeting is essential. Because the parent has to know how much time is invested, how much money invested, and what they're going to be responsible for if they get this opportunity.
Can this be added back to the agenda maybe in December for an update?
Yes, ma'am.
I know you still have some meetings.
He said he was going to.
I'm going to try to bring it in November. November 9th.
Okay.
Because we would like them to start as soon as possible, if possible.
Same with ROTC?
Yeah, same with that one. ROTC going to take a little longer because it's like a 20-page application. It's going to take us a long time. I mean, it's going to take us some time to do it. But we're going to start working on it.
I have a question about the ROTC program. With you thinking about opening it up to the consortium, will you then have to also partner with the other superintendents within?
No, we if it's our program, we just offer seats.
Oh,
so awesome. We say 10 seats are ours, and then we'll split them amongst the others.
Gotcha. Oh, okay.
And I have one more question about the ROTC program. So, and I'm probably getting a little ahead of myself, but I'm thinking back to when my daughter came out. I'm thinking back to when my daughter came out. Do we know which colleges will accept those credits and let them go into the non-commissioned officers or officers program rather?
That's some of the research that I'm going to have to do and talk with the Army about.
Yeah, because, maybe we could kind of guide the students, let them know that, if this is truly something you want to do, you can still go to college.
Yeah.
And you attend college as part of the ROTC program. I know Kent State.
I was just gonna.
Kent State had a ROTC program. I feel like it was Air Force, and I know Bowling Green had one too. But I would imagine they also have other fields.
Right. My understanding, I think that if any college offer have that particular program, your student has to select. Like
They have to decide which one they want to go
Yeah.
to, yeah.
Yeah, if they want to go into the Army or they want to go into the Navy, we have to see what university have that ROTC program for the Navy. I think that's how it works.
I think it's a great opportunity. If we can
Oh,
snag
yeah, it's
our,
a fantastic opportunity.
if we can get it, I think that'll be a great asset to the district.
Yeah.
And to us.
It would. Both of those programs would be an excellent program.
Yep.
So we working hard on it, trying to get them here.
You
We
are,
moving
thank
on up.
you.
And the local actual reps, the recruiters would love to work with our district to guide those young students.
No, that's it.
Okay. All right. So again, as Ray shared earlier, Mr. Jolly is being inducted into the Warrensville Heights High School Alumni Wall of Fame this coming Saturday, and we are really proud of you, and we can't wait to celebrate with you. So we look forward to seeing you guys on Saturday. And Miss Barbara, safe travel. Have a wonderful time. Have a wonderful time and be safe. So if there's nothing else, if I can please have a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn this meeting.
May I have a second?
I second.
It has been moved and properly second. The October 24th